Hi, my name is Pam Lux, and I'm going to be talking about my Czech heritage today. A little bit about my history is we had such names as Tyrol, and my grandparents' names was Urbanovsky, and my father's name, which was my maiden name, was Perolik. Both sides of my family came from Czechoslovakia in the Moravian territory, and here is a map of what it looked like back when they immigrated over to the United States. Here was Czechoslovakia, and right here is the Moravian territory by Poland, Germany, Italy, Yugoslavia, Hungary, and Romania. My great-grandmother was 3 years old when she came over on a boat to Ellis Island and eventually ended up in Nebraska. And sometimes the Czechoslovakians would stick together when they traveled and they moved over. And so that is how our families met up, by living in the same area, and that's why I am all Czech. My father passed away not too long ago, and when we were going through his belongings, it was at that time that we realized how very much his Czech culture still really did mean to him. So I'm going to share the Czech culture with you that I grew up with. Czechoslovakians really like their music and dancing, and one thing that they really like are polkas. And my father had a bunch of polka music in his belongings. That brought back memories when we were little, and we used to go to lots of wedding dances where they would play lots of polkas, and we would really kick up our heels to the beer barrel polka and In Heaven There Is No Beer. And we would also do a really fun dance called the Flying Dutchman, where you would get groups of 3 people and you would swing each other around, and it would get really wild, and you would be banging into each other and into tables, but we had a really fun time. If you would like to see a demonstration of what polka music looks like, you can go to this website here and view it later on. And us kids used to love to go to the wedding dances and actually dance to the polka music, but we were not real big on listening to music, polka music. But unfortunately, my parents' favorite radio show was the Big Joe Polka Show. And they did that. They listened to it every Sunday religiously for 3 hours. So we had to endure this polka show. One of the instruments that that people use to play polkas is an accordion. And my father used to have an accordion, and he used to play it for his kids, and we used to dance around. It's this big instrument that you hold on your chest, and you put your arms through the loops, and you hold it up like this, and you play the keyboard with one hand, and you move the instrument in and out to get the music to play. Czech language was important in my family all the way up through my parents. When one of the things my father wanted to be buried with was his black prayer book. And when we finally located it, we were really surprised to see that it was all in Czech. And that brought back to us memories that when my father was a little boy, when he went off to kindergarten, all he knew how to do was speak Czech. They never spoke English at his house. So just like many children in today's schools, my father had to learn English actually in school. And also one of my grandmothers and her sisters used to speak in Czech when they didn't want his kids to know what they were talking about. So we were perplexed sometimes what they were talking about because we didn't know a whole lot of Czech. But although we didn't know a whole lot of Czech, we did learn to roll them R's with certain words. We Czechs also love our food. There's always lots of food, lots of events. And some of the food you'll see is similar to some German food. Some of the food that I grew up with was roliki, which are crescent rolls with poppy seed on them. My grandma used to make this amazing Christmas bread, and we had a lot of sauerkraut and dumplings, which my grandma taught me how to make, which I still make today. And we had jitornici, which is sausage in casings. And then we also had strudel, and we had kolaches, which are pastries with fruit inside of them. And We still love our kolaches today. And of course, we loved our beer. We always had lots of beer at every event, and of course it made the polkas fun, right? It made the dancing better and the polkas funner. And the Czechs were pretty obsessed about their beer because they had all kinds of songs about beer, such as pivo, pivo, pivo javenivo. Pivo is the Czech word for beer. And remember, they also had the beer barrel polka, and in heaven there is no beer. And finally, family is really important in the Czech culture. You learn to respect your elders, and up until a couple of generations ago, the elders actually even lived with their children as they grew older, and even my mother grew up having her grandma live with her. Now, when I grew up, we did not have any grandparents living with us, but we did have really big, huge family picnics and family reunions with all kinds of cousins and aunts and uncles, people we didn't even know. However, as the years went on, we did not have those big picnics anymore, but we still learned that immediate family is still just as important. Our parents really instilled into us the importance of family. And for us, it's kind of hard to get together with just my immediate family, even because we live in 5 different states. But the times we do get together are really wonderful times that we really do cherish. So, along with culture comes traditions. Along the way, you lose some and you keep some. The most precious ones, hopefully, you will pass along. I know that I will be passing along some traditions to my children. And even though I cannot pass on all my traditions, I will always cherish the memories that I had growing up of my Czech culture with my father.